Peace and Yah bless. Yah is a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's the tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He's the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. On this particular discourse, we're going to talk about the future and the future of solar power, or I will call sun power. The sun is a light. The same way you have light bulbs inside of your house, that's a light. Well, the sun is the same exact thing. Okay? It's a very, very powerful source of light that illuminates the earth. Okay? Simple as that. It's just right above our heads. It's not millions of miles away. As you can tell, whenever the sun rays come through a cloud, you can tell that the sun's not that far away. It's just right above your head. Because remember, everything is encased inside of the glass dome. Okay? Above the glass dome, you have water. Above that, you have the mighty throne room, right? Of God, Yah. Okay? The Holy One of Israel. All right. Go to Genesis and read. You'll figure it out, okay? But the sun itself in the future will be much, much brighter and maybe even hotter. Okay? As we read in the book of remembrance. Because the sun itself is an object that actually activates the melanic structure in melanated people. And in people who don't have, as much melanin as you would call, being Caucasian. Being Caucasian is lack of color or, lack of melanin. Okay? They still have melanin, just not as much, as maybe, darker skinned people who have, more concentrations of melanin in their eyes, in their hair, and in their skin color that actually gives their skin color that particular color. And that's because the Most High designed, everybody different, where there are always people without melanin. That's probably a question we're never going to be able to answer. Okay? Some secrets are for the Most High. Whatever He wants us to know, He'll tell us, right? But that's the power of the sun. It's a very powerful object. It's so powerful that, people often worship the sun. That's why people go and worship on Sunday, right? Okay? In what they call Christendom, which everything that surrounds Christendom is about the sun, right? Because Christendom is derived from Egyptology, which was what? Surrounded around the sun, which they called, Ra, R-A, Ra. Okay, this thing right here. They gave it a name. Even though in the Egyptian pantheon, they had a god for everything. A god for the wind, a god for the moon, a god for the dead. Gods for everything. But anyway, all right. In the future, we're going to be using solar power on a lot wider and greater scale for many, many great things. Okay? So I'm going to start here in the chapter of 4 of Malachi. If you have your Bible, please open it up. As I told you guys, you can listen to anything that I'm going to say. Please open up your Bible. That way you'll know what we're looking at, and you can at least get some kind of understanding on why I'm saying what I'm saying, okay? Because I don't speak out of my own heart. I speak from these pages. All right? All right, Malachi 4. Very easy stuff to ascertain, right? So listen very, very closely. Let's start at actually chapter 3. Let's look at verse number 18. Okay? Then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. It's talking about in the future when we get back home, okay? When Yah makes up his jewels, as you see here in verse number 17, okay? His people, okay? Matter of fact, let's read 17. And they shall be mine, right? Saith Yah of hosts, right? In that day, which means in the future, When I make up my jewels, I will spare them. Talking about his people, right? All right, the covenant people. As a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Then it goes on to say, then when we return, we'll be able to discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. Because, some of these people, when we get back to Jerusalem, man, they're going to slip back into the old habits, man. Slip back into their old ways. And best believe they'll get dealt with by the law of Israel. It ain't going to be the law of the daughter of Babylon or wherever they came from. It's going to be by the law of Israel when they get to messing up, when they get to going back into the wicked ways again. Okay? Because we're going to return and we're going to discern, between who's doing righteousness and who's doing wickedness. Between who's serving the Most High, Yah, God, and who's not. Okay? So let's talk about chapter 4. Okay? For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, okay? And all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble, okay? And the day cometh shall burn them up, saith Yah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Now, right there in chapter 4 of Malachi, that's talking about that nuclear battle that's going to take place in the future. Okay? Because, dealing with that and all the, I would say, when those missiles hit, they cause a lot of, wind, power to take place when those, when those missiles hit. So, when the dust settles, the sun itself will have to come back and heal the earth. Okay? So that's what it's talking about here as far as the sun, all right? So let's read a little bit of it, okay? But unto you that fear my name shall the Son, S-U-N, right, of righteousness arise with healing in his wings. And ye shall go forth and grow up as calves in the stalls, okay? And ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet. In that day, right, in the future, that I shall do this, saith Yah of hosts. Remember, it's Yah of hosts who's going to bring on this battle. He's the one who's going to muster this battle to happen in the future, okay? Working through whoever he works through. It might be the power elite, I don't know. It sure reads that way. But however it happens, it happens. But at the end of the day, it's Yah doing it. To what? To deliver his judgment on the wicked. Okay? But we're going to need the sun during that time. Because, anytime you're dealing with missiles hitting all over the place, you're going to be dealing with the cloud cover. Okay? So the sun's going to have a lot of power, to be able to bring healing back to the earth after that battle takes place. Okay? That's why it reads about that up here in verse, number 1 of chapter 4 of Malachi. That's what it's telling you about, okay? It ain't telling you about the sun itself burning the people. It's talking about the nuclear fire that's going to burn the people, okay? All right? It's going to burn as an oven. And all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, they're going to be stubble, okay? And the day that cometh shall burn them up. Okay, talking about nuclear war. Saith Yah of hosts. And it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Nothing left. So kind of like what you've seen on Terminator 2 or Terminator 3. What they're putting on them. Believe me, these people have came in and they've reviewed this Bible. That's where they get the actual, ideas, for these movies. All right, they come get it right out this Bible. Star Wars, Star Trek, you name it. Terminator, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many there are now. You know what I mean? That's where they get these ideas from. All right, but we're going to need the Son of righteousness to arise with healing in his wings. All right. All right. Very, very important thing to understand. Now, the sun itself is not an object of worship. It's just a light, man. It just provides light upon the earth, as it tells you in Genesis that it would do. But we know 100% sure in the future that the sun will be more powerful. Okay, well, how do we know that? Okay, it'll have more light power, right? We'll go to Isaiah chapter 13, okay? And then, look at the top right here. God's people healed. Because as I told you guys, whenever you are dealing with these different viruses or the common cold or what they call influenza and all that stuff, notice it only occurs during the winter months. During the summer months, it's harder for it to occur because naturally the sun is out longer, right? It's more daylight, right? Okay, happening. So people don't get quite as sick during that time because of that. Because the sun, for whatever power it has, on the melatonin structure, not only of darker people, but of, Caucasians also, it helps in healing, right? Notice up here, God's people healed, right? So let's talk about this sun power of the future. Listen on verse number 26, Isaiah chapter 30, okay? Go there, okay? Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun. You hear that? Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun, so to be just as bright. And the light of the sun shall be sevenfold as the light of 7 days. In that day, see in the future, right, tells you what's going to happen. In that day, it's going to be 7 times, more, sevenfold. So probably 7 times brighter than it is today, right? Okay? Or maybe 7 times more power. We'll see. All right? But we know it's in that day that Yah bindeth up the breach of his people, right? Okay, talking about the contract break, right? And healeth the stroke of their wounds, okay? All right? Very, very important. All right? So the sun itself, and that's exactly what it's talking about here, right? Okay? And actually, the light of the moon and the light of the sun. Because it says, moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun. And the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, okay? So more, right? A lot brighter, right? Okay? So, as the light of 7 days. I mean, in that day, right? Okay? But that has to do with what? People being healed. All right? As I told you before, the sun can do that. Okay? Especially people who are melanated. And the more melanin, okay, as many of you I know who have researched about melanin probably are already aware of this. Okay? That's why people, sometimes they do what's called sunbathing. That's why they do that. That's because, the sun has different powers, okay? Different levels of healing, okay? And also, I think it causes the vitamin D in the body to actually activate through the melatonic structure, okay? Through your skin, I'm talking about. And causes different healing inside the body, okay? For whatever it can do. Because I used to study these things some time back about melanin and the constructs and the different things that melanin can do and, et cetera, and the lack thereof of melanin. Because, anybody who's been in pediatrics will tell you that, especially when it comes to, melanated babies and babies that are not melanated. You know what I mean? The babies that are not melanated tend to have more problems, you know what I'm saying? So, for whatever reason that is. Like I said, the more concentrations of melanin that you have, the better off you'll generally be. Why do you think some of these, these top elitists, when they are going around organ harvesting, who they get them from? Mostly black people. I'm going to tell y'all the real deal right now. They get them from black people. They don't go get the organs from white people. They get it from black folks. For real. Because they're already aware of melanin. And these scientists have been studying melanin for many years. They've been studying the DNA and the genome of the black man for many years. The black man is almost like a science experiment sometimes for all the things that have happened to him. Because the Caucasian wants to know all about the black man, because the black man was the original man. Always was the original man. Even when you go back to Cain and Abel, you deal with the mark of Cain. Remember, it was something on Cain that had to be visible. Well, he could be differentiated and seen amongst the rest of the populace as him being different from the rest of the populace. Because everybody wonders what mark was put upon Cain. Well, simple. What do you think it was? It was his melanin being taken away. That's why he said, oh no, I'm going to be a vagabond everywhere I go. People are going to see me. But then the Most High said, no, nothing's going to happen to you. Anything happen to you, then I'm going to remove them. Should anybody try to do anything unto you, right? Okay? So, I think that's really easy to discern when you read about that story, about what mark it could have been. Okay? It was definitely that. Okay? So, because melanin is one of the outstanding constructs that even makes up the galaxies, what they call the galaxy or space or whatever you want to call it, even though that's just right above your head, okay? Because we're in a pressurized dome, okay? So, but that's definitely one of the elements. It's actually an element. And they actually have with melatonin, that people use sometimes to try to get sleep or go to sleep, right? And melatonin is also in your brain along with serotonin and, epinephrine and norepinephrine and many other chemicals, okay? That they use when they think a person has, chemical imbalance, with their moods and things like that. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about all that, okay? That's for you guys to figure out. But in the future, that sun will definitely be a more powerful sort of a, instrument here above our heads for us to see, along with the light of the moon, okay? Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as light of the sun. So it's gonna be that much more brighter in the future, right? And the light of the sun shall be sevenfold, as the light of 7 days. Wow. The light of 7 days, that's a lot of days, so it's pretty bright. But I would imagine that we're going to need that in the future because of when that battle occurs. I'm talking about WW3, and it's going to occur. It's already written that it would occur, so we know that it's going to. We just don't know when, okay? We know it's going to occur. But the sun will need to be much brighter, to help heal the earth after that battle takes place, okay? And I guess the best thing about being in Jerusalem is we know that Yah is going to surround Jerusalem. So none of those missiles go to hit Jerusalem. Okay? Because Yah himself, okay, you read about that in the Minor Prophets. He's going to surround Jerusalem. Okay? Simple as that. For when that battle takes place, the missiles are not going to come near us, but they're going to go a lot of other places. Okay? I can't tell you where, but they're going to go a lot of places. All right? All right, but very, very interesting. The sun shall come with healing in his wings. In that day, in the future, it'll come with healing in his wings. So, once again, the sun is not to be an object of our desire as far as worship, okay? Like the Egyptians did. And many other people still do, and basically what all of Christianity is derived from. Okay? It's derived from sun worship. That's why they choose the day, which they call Sunday, for that particular worship. And they really shouldn't be worshiping. And I understand, because without the sun, naturally, the whole earth would perish, right? But it's not to be made an object of our desire, for worship like that. Okay? It's just a great light, you know what I mean? The Most High tells you that in Genesis, that he made these two great lights, the sun and the moon. Those are the two great lights. And you see in the future right there in Isaiah that, they're going to be much brighter in the future. Okay? Much, much brighter in the future. But they're just great lights, okay? They're not to be taken on as, for worship like the Egyptians did or like they do in Christendom, right? All right. You see that right here in Genesis chapter 1, right? All right. Verse 16. And God made two great lights. So the lights. Doesn't say one of them was a planet and you could land on it. It's just a light, man. Okay? That judges the month, the moon. Okay? They say you can land on it. They faked all that in the studio and everybody knows it. Okay? But I'm not going to get into that. Okay? Go do your own research. Easy to find. And God made two great lights. The greater light to rule the day, which is the sun, right? And the lesser light to rule the night. And he made the stars. Okay? So, easy to ascertain. But in the future, we know for sure that the sun will be sevenfold brighter than it is today, as the light of 7 days. And the moon will be as bright as the sun. Okay? And the sun shall come with healing in his wings, especially after what you read over there in Malachi, after that nuclear war. Because if not, the whole planet would, it'd probably freeze to death if the sun was, blotted out, like it probably will be, for some time, whenever that battle occurs. So we'll need the sun to be 7 times brighter during that time for all those who survive to see that day, take place and get through it. But it's going to take place without a doubt. Okay? Thank you all for listening to these discourses. I look forward to seeing you all in Jerusalem one day. Okay? Until then, we shall let the sun, and we pray that it always rises in its righteousness with healing in its wings, especially for melanated people. Okay? All right, because it does provide healing through our melatonic structure, what they call so-called black people. All right? And Caucasians have melanin too, but they just have lower concentrates of it because it may be in their eyes or in their hair. That's what gives the hair its color in the eyes, like brown eyes. Brown eyes come from having melanin. Okay? Because generally, brown eyes are dominant eyes. Even though people desire like lighter colors of eyes, blue and green and hazel, those, it just means your eyes are, they're not dominant. Okay? They're recessive. Okay? All right. So, but that's what gives the color to, black people's skin and all those things like that. And different, actually melanin is in your organs, in your body and everything. So that's why the sun can actually really, truly heal you. Okay? All right? Through the power of God, right? Because God's the one who made, this great light. But in the future, it will be much brighter. Okay? Thank you all for listening. Peace and God bless.